Hello and welcome back to another video. It's me, Krashy, again, talking about a little bit of more Gears of War stuff. And, you know, kind of sticking to the usual, might add in some new stuff every now and then. But today, as you can tell by the title, I wanted to talk about escalation. Now, escalation, if you don't know already, is the current competitive game mode. It's one of the two playlists listed in the competitive or the matchmaking competitive cell phone. In the matchmaking section of the game. So it's the competitive play mode or playlist and game mode that we use, that is used for the competitive Gears of War esports setting and tournaments and LANs and everything like that. So what is escalation? If you're not familiar with it, I'm going to break it down really simply. It's a very strategic version of domination. Now, if you're not familiar with domination, basically there's 3 points on the map. The longer you hold the point, the more points you get. Obviously, the more points you have, the faster your point gain is, but there's a twist on it. There's a couple twists on it, actually. One, if you cap all three of them, a certain amount of time will tick down and you can actually triple cap and end the round. And two, well, actually, there's kind of three different things about it. One, the fact that it's round-based. It's actually round-based, similar to like a CSGO style of round, where you actually have you know, multiple rounds to win. So it's very strategic in that sense that, you know, it is a little bit different. Two, the fact that you can triple cap and win. And three, the fact that you actually place weapons based on which person or which team lost the round prior, and then going forward, you know, the map will actually flip at the halfway point as well. So there's actually quite a bit that goes into this game type, and if you really analyze it, it's very unique. And so whenever it was first announced and they did the showcase thing, I think it was at the Season 2 finals or something like that, or at PAX or whatever, I actually wasn't sure how I felt about the game type. The game type was like, it was like kind of like a reimagining of a game mode we've already seen in a game before, and it ultimately was just like really different. You know, we're going to 5v5 and we're going to you know, respawn game mode, and like you pick the weapons, which was like about the only cool thing to me. But I was like, you know, you can triple cap and just win, and it's like a ton of rounds, and I was just like, how is this gonna work? Like, I don't know. Like, one thing I definitely was worried about was that since you're splitting up people to go, you know, you're splitting up your resources to hold different parts of the map, I figured it was going to be very individually skill based and not much teamwork, or not as much teamwork as say something like Execution had, you know, where you really had to find the right angles or get, you know, the right crosses and things to get your opponents down and then make those pushes. And it's almost like not only was I just entirely wrong, but it's almost like escalation is the one amazing thing that came out of Gears of War 4. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is because that's exactly how I feel. I feel like they nailed escalation. Like, there's nothing about it that I cannot stand. Like, I don't know, like the triple caps get kind of frustrating when you're playing solo queue, and you know, it can get a little bit annoying when people put stupid weapons in places, but ultimately, strategically, if you were looking at it, you know, dissecting it from, you know, a team's perspective, or, you know, if people were very coordinated, escalation is amazing. It creates an intensity level that I really enjoy about Gears of War. It brings, you know, a lot of the gameplay elements and turns it into respawn, which is amazing because you get to play more of the game. You actually don't have to worry about how the maps are set up in terms of weapons, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, well, that map has like a boom way over there, like that really fucks up the map. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about, is a map viable based on weapons? Now, you do have to worry about how it's viable based on hill locations and layout of the map, but it brings something totally different to Gears of War, and I definitely think that it's the best thing coming out of Gears of War 4 currently. Now, having said that, I do think that there are a little bit of room for improvements for escalation. But, you know, time will tell on that, and I think it's really going to come down to maps that are released. I mean, really, the only maps we've had released so far have been remakes, and we really haven't had a chance to add any new maps to, like, the competitive cycle. I mean, Spire and Glory are, you know, they're just not really that great of maps, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of maps can go into escalation and actually work competitively, and be pretty viable. But all in all, I think escalation's really awesome. I think the increased timers make it makes it to where you have to be a smart player, and in terms of just solo queuing, things like that, like positioning and using TACCOM and understanding timers is so very important. And I know I think I've said this in a video before, But one thing I know a lot of people don't do is time their weapons. Now, obviously this is something that, you know, teams or coaches will do in the competitive scene, but it's really important to do in escalation ranked as well. So for example, the round starts, there's a boom shot in between A and B hill on impact, and you know, we go to push it, and say we smoke off the enemy team. I know I can get that pickup. Well, right when I pick it up, I press the back button at the same time, see how many seconds we are into the game. Boom, I know 2 minutes from that time it'll be up again. So let's say it was 14 seconds. I know at 2:15, 2:14, that boom shot's going to be back again, and that controls how your team wants to position. It controls where I want to put myself as a player, and so there's just a lot of depth to escalation, and it's something that I was definitely surprised about. The more the game kept going on, the more I learned, the more I played, the more I enjoyed escalation. I think with the spectator mode increases, you know, or just improvements, just in general, the esports scene is doing really well in terms of the viewing experience. I definitely am interested to see how this last title update for Spectator will work in a big LAN, so that's going to be coming up pretty soon. But all in all, I just wanted to kind of have a positive video and talk about something about Gears of War 4 that I really do like, and that's escalation. Escalation has been really awesome. Like I said, I think it's definitely best played with a team. Communication is insane. Understanding map rotations, weapon timings, death timers, and things like that is super important. But all in all, it's just a really fun time. So kudos to the coalition, and that's really all I had today. I just really wanted to give some props to escalation and the team for, you know, designing a very intuitive game type, and something that I wouldn't have anticipated would come out of Gears of War. You know, I think we would have expected going into Gears of War 4 to play execution, maybe some kind of variant game mode, and do, you know, multiple game types, but escalation really does cover it, and I feel like just all in all, I'm pretty pleased with it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. As always, please leave me a like. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about escalation? I think it's really cool. Even if you're just like a solo queue ranked player, like how does it do for you? You know what I mean? How do you think of it? So thank you guys again, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.